My name is Tori. This is Novel Life. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome to my 10 before the end. So these are 10 books that I really want to read and get to before the end of the year. Now, my reading is slowed down quite a bit. Like, I honestly can't believe there's only 2 months left of the year. Like, where did 2025 go? I feel like I was just paying taxes back in March, and now it's like the end of the year. Like, Christmas is upon us, basically. And I have these 10 books to read. Like I said, my reading is slowed down, so if you see these in my November and or December TBR videos. With all that being said, let's go ahead and dive in because I'm so excited. I could pick these up right now. So the first one is actually 2 books, but the first one is Quicksilver by Callie Hart. So I wanted to do a reread of Quicksilver because I don't remember anything but loving Kingfisher. That's it. I don't know anything. I think I read this back in 2023. Was it 2024? No, it was the beginning of 2024. It's just been a very long time. And I've read a lot of fantasy romances in between that. So of course, things are going to get muddled up and I'm not going to remember. So I'm going to need a refresher. I am doing a buddy read over on my Patreon of Quicksilver. They wanted to kind of do that and have a live show so you can join us. It'll be right before Brimstone comes out by Callie Hart. So this comes out November 18th. And I'm so excited. Like I said, I want to reread this before I read Brimstone because I'm not going to remember anything. So these 2 will definitely be read. This is a reread, still counts before the end of the year. And then Brimstone is the second book I want to read before the end of the year. Because it comes out and I want to see what happens. So I am so excited. This is a chunker, but I'm very, very excited. I also don't think I listened to the audiobook when the book came out. Like, I read it when it was still indie published, and I don't think there was an audiobook yet. So I am very excited to listen to the audiobook of this one. If you have read the audiobook, please let me know. I'd love to know your thoughts and if you thought it was good. The next one I have is more like Christmassy kind of. I'll probably read it in November if I'm not mistaken. That is The Gingerbread Bakery by Lori Gilmore. So I have heard that this is Christmassy. I was going to read it in fall because I thought it was fall. People were like, no, it's more Christmassy. And then I heard that it only looks Christmassy because of the stuff on the cover. Like, it has like cute little wreaths and stuff like that and a tree. But they said it takes place between like November and December, so you could probably read it anytime. All I know is it is a second chance romance. That's it. I know Christy from Christy Reads a Lot. Really love this, so I'm very, very, very excited. I have the audiobook of this. I've listened to, if not every book by Lori Gilmore in the Dream Harbor series on audio, and I really like the audiobook. So this will be just like a cute, cozy, quick read, maybe for a 24-hour readathon. We'll see if I give those a go again. The next book is a thick one, and I do have a physical copy of this, but I am going to read the trad published version, and that is Fallen Stars by Imani Erum. This is the sequel to Heavenly Bodies. I bought the paperback when it was still indie. Like, I bought the second book when it was still indie, and I have this because it is like a prized possession of mine, but I know that some things were changed even in just like the first book when it was indie to trad. Not much, but a decent amount. And so I want to make sure that the book I read when it comes out later this year, I want to say it comes out in November. It's like relatively soon, and I want to read the actual like trad version. So I do have the audio placed at my library, but I have this gorgeous copy because it's just a prized possession. I would love to reread Fallen Stars after I read the trad version, to go back and read this indie version just to see if anything has changed, like what they took out. This is a 750 pages. It's a chunker. And I don't think the trad book is this big, but I'm very excited for this. This is a fantasy romance series, very like celestial stars, stuff like that, and I loved it. I reread Heavenly Bodies earlier this year. Love that book. It was so good. The romance is so good. I love our female character. So much happened, so I cannot wait to see what happens in this book because the ending of Heavenly Bodies really got me, okay? Even the second time I read it. The next book I want to read comes out on November 4th, and that is Blackthorn by J.T. Geisinger. So this is J.T. Geisinger's first kind of like romantasy or step in romantasy, and that kind of makes me nervous because for some authors it works, some authors it doesn't. And so I was sent an ARC paperback copy from Bramble Books, so thank you Bramble. They reached out and was like, hey, do you want to read it? I will be reading this before November 4th. It just says that it is a fiery gothic romance where the sexy supernatural suspense of Gothicana meets the thrills of Haunting of the Hill House. So I've not read Haunting of the Hill House, but it has like a paranormal edge. I'm very excited. I probably will go into this blind. Only because I've read J.T. Geisinger's books already. I know her writing style. I've read a lot of her mafia romances, and I do like her writing. So I want to see what she does with this kind of like romantasy paranormal edge. I don't really know what to call it yet because I haven't read it, but it has a mix of a lot of things that I love. So like I said, this one comes out November 4th. I'm very excited. It has a deluxe hardcover edition with like spread edges and stuff. That's the finished copy, but I will be reading this one, and it's relatively short. 300 pages, so that's not bad. Another angsty romance that I want to read is Please Don't Go by E. Salvador. So this one I've had on my Kindle for months. I got the paperback for my birthday. Someone gifted it to me. I'm so excited for this. I've said this before. I read the first chapter of this or I started reading the first chapter and I was like, oof, this is already heavy. I know this has amazing mental health representation. If you know me, I love anything with mental health rep. And I always get scared when I feel like a book is going to be super, super good. I put it off until the very last minute. But I will be reading this before the end of the year because I want to see if this will be on my top books of the year. So this will probably be a November read. It could be one of the last books I read in October. Who knows? But I'm very excited. All I know is that it says he felt like he was drowning. She was about to drown. He is a shortstop. So he plays baseball. He's a ray of sunshine and potential first-round pick for the MLB draft. Oh my God, it says they stumble upon each other on Christmas Day. He can't stop thinking about her. She wants to forget him, but fate seems to have plans for them. I don't know. I've heard so many good things. People cry in this book, and I'm ready. I'm ready to read it. It will be read before the end of the year. Another one that I have a hold at my library for, I wanted to buy the physical copy because it has pretty blue sprayed edges, but I told myself, no. You were going to read it first through the library, then you will buy the hardback if you like it. And that is Silver Cloak by E.L. Stevenson. This book. I have heard my friend Rachel from Raven-Haired Reader say that this was amazing. It is a mostly fantasy with a romance subplot that's at least decently strong enough for fantasy romance lovers to really like this. So I have the hold for the ebook and the audiobook because I like to immersive read for my fantasy romances. That's just personally how I like to read it. So those have about 3 to 4 weeks. So it'll be a November read probably, but I have very, very high hopes. Rachel sang the praises of this book, so I cannot wait to dive into this one. Speaking of another fantasy romance subplot, I don't know, The Jasad Heir, okay? I bought the ebook when it was on sale for $1.99 through Amazon, but this is by Sarah Hashem. So I don't know anything about this book other than people say the second book is really, either the second book people love or hate it. I was very surprised by the contrast in that. But I've heard that this is a really good fantasy, and I've been in the mood for fantasy, really immersive fantasies since I've read Alchemized. I love the in-depthness of Alchemized, and so I'm searching for books like that where it has this rich world building, magic system, uniqueness, all of that. Oh, okay, so the back of it says 10 years ago, the kingdom of Jasad burned. Its magic was outlawed, its royal family murdered. At least that's what Sylvia wants people to believe. The heir of Jasad escaped the massacre and she intends to stay hidden, especially from the armies of Nizal that continue to hunt her people. Okay. Oh, and it says when Aaron, the Nizal heir, tracks a group of Jasadi rebels to her village, Sylvia accidentally reveals her magic and captures his attention. And now she has to make a deal with her greatest enemy. That sounds so good. I think there's probably a romance between them. I don't know if this is YA or adult. I have a feeling it's probably going to be adult just because of the back of the book, but I could be totally wrong. But I'm so excited to read this. I don't know if the second book will be read this year, but the first book, I'm high hopes that it will be read this year. The next book I have to talk about is actually a reread, and that is Unloved by Peyton Karen. So I read this early. I had an ebook copy from Atria. Thank you so much, Atria, for letting me read this early. But this, okay. I don't know how else to tell you, but I am Peyton Karen's biggest fan. I literally am her biggest fan. I will read anything she writes. Her captions on Instagram, you girls reading them, okay? So I physically read this book when it came out in March. I think it was February when this came out. And I wanted to listen to the audiobook, but I was halfway through the ebook. So I was like, you know what? I'll wait for the audiobook upon reread and I'll read it then. So it is time. Usually towards the end of the year, I will reread my favorites. And this is one of them. I have a feeling this is one of those books that is going to be on my top books of the year. So I do like to reread some of those books at the end of the year. So yeah, I will be rereading this via audio. This is a college romance, but it's so much more than that. So emotionally in depth. I just love the character so much. It is a tutor student. She's a student. She's also tutoring him. So there's some stuff like that. There's also learning disability representation in here. Love it so much. And the last book is a chunker, and that is Dawn of Chaos and Fury by Melissa K. Rourke. So this is the last and final book in the Legacy series. I have a prized possession. I have the physical art copy in my hands. Oh my gosh, this comes out November 25th. This will be read before then. I have a lot of arcs for November, but I'm not mad about that. She's a chunker. She is 750 pages. I read, oh my gosh, what is the second book? Storm of Secrets and Sorrows and Tempest of Wrath and Vengeance, which is books 2 and 3. I read those this year. fell in love with the series all over again. I read book 1 at the end of last year and I thought it was good. Solid start, but I have a deeper appreciation for the characters as the series goes on. That's one of my favorite things to read in fantasy romance, is when you get sucked into the characters and what they're doing. Like after the ending of book 3, I have been putting this off. Like I knew this was going to come out this year, okay? And I was just like, I don't know if I'm physically ready to read it, but I have an art copy. I'm privileged enough to have that. I will be reading it. I will be telling you if the series is worth it, because the ending in the last book always makes it or breaks it for a series for me. So I'm very, very excited to read this. She's a chunker, but she will be read. Those are the 10 books I want to read before the end of the year. You can let me know some of your books in the comments down below that you would love to read before the end of the year. I would love to know. But this is my 10 before the end of the year TBR. If you made it this far and you want to let me know, leave me a bow emoji in the comments down below, the pink bow emoji. I'm very pink today, so yes, leave me that in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe for more content from me. As always, I hope you're living a novel life, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.